Is a presentation of 13ABC Action News. Now, your table is ready. Join 13ABC's Jeff Smith with the decision makers of Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. This is the Roundtable.
And welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of the Roundtable program on this Sunday. Hard to believe we're almost through February. Coming up in our second segment, we'll talk a little bit about education here in the state of Ohio and kind of the redefining of education, as it were, in the next couple of years, what that means. But here, right out of the gate, we want to talk a little bit about you as the consumer out there and what buying local means to you when you go to the grocery store every Sunday. You might have done it today, but what kind of efforts are out there to make sure that the local produce is getting to you and you're able to afford it? We're so happy to have with us today Matt Kennedy. He is from Sustained Brand out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Made the trek up here to Toledo. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Pleasure to be
And
here.
also with us today is the Vice President, Director of Agricultural Products and Progress with SIFT. That is Rebecca Singer. Thank you so much for spending some time. As we look at this, I guess, this economy, Matt. And when people go to the store, and I want to get this right out there real quick, when people go to local stores here in Northwest Ohio, and though your focus is down in the southern part of the state, when they go to the store, maybe they think in their minds, local, more expensive. You're saying that's not the case.
Not necessarily. It's not always the case. Local, hard to find, but not necessarily local, more expensive.
And that's where Sustain was born, really. This has been in effect, what, about 10 years now?
No, we've been thinking about the plan for about 4, but we've been in stores and active for about 3.
Okay, but what you brought up was just the fact of getting it, and that was the issue that you saw tackling.
Yeah, the issue I saw was consumers were looking for local product, and they didn't want to go all over trying to find it. Nobody has time. They want local where they shop. People want local products, they want it where they shop, and retailers aren't necessarily built to handle many local suppliers. Mm-hmm. So our concept, our business model is we aggregate the local supply to make it easy for Mrs. Consumer to find, and make it also easy for retailers. One stop, one brand.
Now, are there efforts to bring that brand, Sustained Brand, here in Northwest Ohio?
Yeah.
Well, is this something people see now?
No, we're not here yet. We talked to a couple people at Churchill's.
Yeah.
And that is part of our business model, is to move up north.
Yeah.
We have the Ohio Valley Hub that services Columbus and south down to Louisville, Lexington, Indianapolis area.
Why did you see such a niche there? I mean, years ago when you were thinking this up, why did you feel that there was such a niche to get the local product out there?
Well, I was working with some large manufacturers, and everything was supply chain driven. Cost. It was just cost.
Especially in the economy we've been dealing with.
And how can we make our product cheaper and get it cheaper to shelf? Mm-hmm. And I saw that there was a hole where some very viable local brands were being discontinued simply on cost basis.
Okay.
And so the concept is, what can we do to leverage the efficiency of one brand, one message nationwide, yet have it only comprised of local product, high quality, interesting, unique local product. Because when you're local, you have a connection, a visceral connection to your customers.
Local is one of those things, and I know the center, I'm going to blow it again, SIFT stands for again.
The Center for Innovative Food Technology.
And over the years, Rebecca, as you guys have looked to implement these programs and innovative programs, that's what you strive for, bring people up to speed on exactly the goal of SIFT and what you guys have been successful at doing that kind of all ties in with this.
Sure. Our organization is a nonprofit based here in Toledo, and it's really primarily focused on economic development and the enhancement of the food and agricultural industry across the state of Ohio. Mm-hmm. We're very fortunate, since we are here, we've kind of expanded our efforts in the Northwest Ohio Cooperative Kitchen, which is what many people are familiar with. It gives an outlet for people who have a great recipe or a product idea, and they really want to tap into a lot of the local markets, but they don't know how to get there. And so we provide them all the business assistance necessary, all the technical parameters in which they have to follow to have a viable food product, and do a lot of education. So it's very complementary for what we're talking about here, is that it's not an easy process to get into some of these outlets. And if we are able to help prepare people in the entrepreneurship and the small business scale and give them some resources to make them more successful, the products are fantastic. They can really speak volumes for the region as a whole.
We did a story not too long ago, Bittersweet Farms coming up with a pesto and getting it in stores locally, but they didn't have, as you said, the means to do so.
Right.
So they used that kitchen and finally got their product produced.
And that's really what we're finding, is the ideas are just rampant in the area. I mean, people really are enthusiastic about local foods and they have a passion for it, but they don't know exactly what to do next. And many people really enjoy the cooking element, but they're not the sales-driven folks, and they're not certain as to how to take it to the next level. And so many times they kind of get held up at a farmer's market basis. And what we'd like to do is see those really grow and achieve more of a viable business, and in turn really create jobs and build upon the strength of our region, which is the agricultural base, to support their efforts through the produce that can be ingredients, but just the network and the resources we have with so many of our small independent retailers.
Was there something you've seen over the last couple of years as far as a trend that has developed in the buying, I guess, of consumers going to the markets and striving to get those local products?
They're really just loving anything fresh and good quality. You know, the price component we really haven't seen come into play. Many of our small guys, they are 1 or 2 man shops, so they do have a slightly higher price point than others. But people are finding that the fresh ingredients and the story behind the product has really been making the difference as far as what the consumers are desiring and how these products are advancing.
Yeah, a couple of things. I made a couple of calls around the area. Churchill's, Anderson's, you mentioned Churchill's, one of some of the names of which were familiar, and telling us that 15 to 20% of what they carry in store right now at Churchill's locally produced products. The Anderson's Market over in Sylvania saying 80% of their produce is local in the summertime, as you were talking about the seasonal matters, but 50% of what they carry on store shelves at any one time is locally based. So there's that niche. Some of the products you're looking at here, whether it be tomato sauce, salsa, soup, things of that nature, water, which you were telling us about before we came on today. Hamilton County water, or Hamilton, Ohio water.
Hamilton City, Hamilton water, right?
And why is that real? Is it I guess is it a trick of the trade, or is it really something that people are going to see that name on there and be like, well, this is water I can get from my tap?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And what we're trying to communicate here, when you see the brand Sustain, you know it's local. And then we tell the local story on the package, where it came from, what farm it came from, who processed it. We give the local story right on the package. So we're trying to be very, very transparent. We're not going to, once you tell a non-truth, you're done.
Yeah.
So we are very, very transparent. We show where it's from, who made it, who grew it. That's our whole story.
Over the last couple of weeks here on our show, we've had people who have put together plans to coupon better, make people get more bang for their buck. What, in your estimation, I guess, what is it going to take for, I guess this is a good thing, yes, as far as the market is concerned, what we've gone through to go through this economy and then try to focus on local retailers?
Yeah, it's been a challenge, and our challenge is, and with the help of some partners, is just brand recognition, getting the name out there, and to the point where consumers understand, I see Sustain, it's local.
Yeah.
Whether I'm in Toledo or Cincinnati or Louisville, or we have a hub in upstate New York, you know it's local. Only travel a half day, and that's our our motto, nothing travels more than a half a day.
Yeah. And Rebecca, as you guys continue to look for new and innovative ways in which to, I guess, broaden the scope as far as local, and your focus is agriculture as well. I mean, is the agricultural market here doing all right?
Oh, the agricultural market right now is just, there's so many opportunities. We have our traditional mainstay agriculture that is thriving and really kind of expanded, but we're seeing such an interest in the local produce, and our organization is trying to further apply technology and different practices to extend those production practices. Mm-hmm. So things like hoop houses and high tunnels where you can produce product all year round. That's been something that we've been showcasing for the last 4 years here in Northwest Ohio, with no heat applied to it, which is a particularly favorable means when it comes to the economics of growing something in the winter months. And so the more we can kind of build upon the agricultural base and really strengthen that and have these products readily available, then we can continue to see them broaden into the value-added products and become something that consumers have accessible all throughout the year. And that's really where the Bittersweet connection and really was a showcase of that. Mm-hmm. They had the hoop house, they were growing basil all year round, and then really decided, let's take it to the next step and have a value-added product that would complement all the other activities that they're engaged in. And that really kind of showcases that whole spectrum.
Matt was lucky he had the marketing background, but you're basically saying anybody can do this.
We have so many different perspectives and so many different personalities that come in. Really, as long as you have a passion and a desire and willing to take some advice as far as what's needed from a food safety standpoint to a marketing standpoint, once you do have a product out there, it really is something that people can succeed with.
So if they've got a passion for seeing their name in the grocery store or their product's name, it's very possible.
It is very possible, and we do things to really kind of foster that and build upon the enthusiasm. We have a local food contest that we do every year just to try to get people to think a little bit more creatively about is there something that they've had in their family for generations that has the potential to take it on a larger scale. And just many people, I think, are just held back by the fact that they don't know where to go for help and they don't realize what they don't know yet. Mm-hmm. And so we help to try to fill those gaps and give them the information that will streamline that process and make them productive.
And are you noticing real traction down in the Cincinnati area as far as people going to the grocery store, seeing Sustain or seeing that name and grabbing for it?
Yeah, we are experiencing some growth.
Yeah.
And expansion into a number of retail outlets.
Okay.
And we're also moving it online just to move faster, to help the guys that you're talking to that don't have the capacity to get to retail numbers. Well, we can bring them online and move their product a little faster. Everything is about getting volume for the small guy. The guy needs volume. These guys need volume, or they're not going to stay in business. And what can we do to help them get the volume they need? And that's what we're all about. Tell their story, get them some volume, keep them in business so that we all have higher quality stuff. We have better options.
Where do people go to learn more about Sustain?
Sustainbrand.com.
And Sift?
SIFTinnovation.org.
There you go, both of you. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Roundtable program. Stay right there. Our second segment coming up, talking about education here, changing the face of education in the next couple of years here in Ohio, right after this.